right, let's move on because this is a great story. Brett Connellan was the victim of a brutal shark attack off the New South Wales south coast back in 2016. He survived that attack, but he was told he may never walk again after suffering critical injuries to his leg.
OK, so now, incredibly, the Aussie surfer is back in the water and his extraordinary story of survival and recovery is being told in a gripping new documentary.
After a wave had just gone over the top of him, I heard this blood-curdling scream for help.
It was this realisation that my worst nightmares are really coming to fruition, like right in front of me, and I'm watching it and I can't do anything about it.
His face was lifeless, basically. That just said it all for me.
And this is the most profound moment, the feeling of, is this what it feels like to die?
Goodness me. We're happy to say now that Brett Connellan joins us here on the couch in the studio. Welcome to you, Brett. Amazing story. This all happened to you 7 years ago. Take us back to that day.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people ask me what it's like revisiting that day so many times, and I mean, I do it often enough, obviously. Just in life in general, people find it interesting, but doing it in a documentary is a different way. But it's funny, I always say it was a day like any other. I always say I'm a regular person like any other, except something very irregular happened to me that made this day so irregular. I mean, we never know when these life-changing incidents or moments are going to happen, and that was really that day for me.
Did it happen sort of like that? Was there any hint of danger?
A lot of people ask me, did you see it coming? Could you see the fin coming through the water? And I always say sharks are incredibly good at what they do.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming at all. And
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. For how quick the moment was, it was also so slow. And that's something where I look back on it and I can think and picture all those little things in my mind to help me piece it together. And I mean, that's part of retelling it. It's part of what makes it gripping and engaging, I guess, as well. But yeah, that moment, it'll definitely live with me for a long time.
And you were fortunate at the time. There were people on the beach who knew what to do. They used, I think it was the leg rope from the surfboard as a tourniquet to stop your blood loss.
Yeah.
Talk us through your recovery and what all that involved.
Yeah, obviously a lot of luck was required on the beach that afternoon, and that luck kind of extended to the recovery. Having the right people around me the whole way through. It's a bit of an unknown when you lose 3/4 of your left quad and they perform an operation which is so rare that we didn't really know what the long-term effects were going to be. But essentially, when you're trying to recover from being told you'll never walk again and definitely not surf again, the expectations are difficult. Yeah, I always get asked to wear shorts when I come and do these things.
Do you mind?
Not at all.
Just stand up for us.
Yeah.
We might be able to get a shot of that.
So that's what it looks like today. Let me tell you, it looks a lot better now than what it used to.
Yeah.
So what they did is they took my lat muscle and transplanted that in there to cover the bone that was exposed in order to essentially make sure that they didn't have to amputate the leg. And again, going back to the recovery, it was a lot of hard work, but again, really lucky to have the right people around me to guide me in the right direction.
I'm staggered that you're willing to jump in the water again. I mean, I probably wouldn't. How did you sort of reconcile that?
It's funny, a lot of people, I think, look at jumping back in the water and the whole aspect of being scared of sharks coming into it, and that's part of it, but I try and look at things as logically as you can, and you look at the odds of being attacked by a shark, and obviously being attacked twice is, God forbid. But I tried to really educate myself on shark behaviour and shark-human interactions to understand it better. For me, the harder thing about going back in the water was an unknowingness of what I was going to surf. Like, surfing was such a big part of my life, and I didn't know what that end goal was going to look like and what that would mean for me moving forward, because surfing was such a big part of my life that I kind of said to myself, who is Brett the surfer without surfing if I couldn't do it the way I'd done it my entire life? And that was the harder thing for me to grapple with.
I think that's probably the reason you got back in, though, right? You talk to any surfer and it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. It's part of you.
Yeah.
And you couldn't give it up.
No, and that's the other thing. People are like, oh, do you still surf today? And it's not something you can give up that easy. I surf today for different reasons than what I did before. It's not so much about chasing the dream of becoming a professional surfer. I do it more because I love it now, and that for me is something that makes me feel a lot better too. But it's my whole life, and the reason I do what I do has definitely changed a lot.
What about those closest to you? What are they saying?
I know Mum didn't want me to go back in the water the first time. I always think the people closest to me have the most interesting relationship to my story, because living it through their lens and through, I mean, I know for me, my greatest fear is receiving a phone call that something bad has happened to someone that you love, and they've had to go through that because of me. And still one of the most emotional things that I get is when I talk to people and I hear them recount that memory of either seeing the news or getting a message. And I think being that moment for someone it's a strange feeling, and that's part of going through the recovery, and I suppose the documentary is kind of a thank you to those people for being there for me.
Well, tell us about the doco. What do you want people to come away from it thinking and feeling?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's been almost 3 years in the making. I guess I get asked a lot about what I want people to take away from it, and I think for me, again, like I said right at the start, I'm just a regular person that something very irregular has happened to, and at the end of the day, we're all regular people. We're all going to have our own version of a shark attack in one way or another, and I always say if my story can get people to look at their own experiences in a different way so they can use themselves as the inspiration when they do encounter an obstacle or a hurdle in life, I think that would be the ultimate goal for me. All the stuff I do, whether it's the film, speaking, getting on TV, I find it very difficult and hard to be the centre of attention, but I do it for this purpose, which is using my story to help other people, and if it can just help one, then I say it's worth it.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah, amazing.
I can't wait to see the doco.
It's out on Stan now, so you can check it out.
Good stuff. Oh, well, good luck.
Thank you, Brett. Good luck.
And you can watch that doco, Attacking Life, as he said, right now on Stan.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my God, Karl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Karl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?